Okay, guys. Good evening to our live viewers, and just going to introduce today's topic. Firstly, welcome to our fourth fat loss video. Today, we're going to discuss something a little bit different to what typically would associate with fat loss. We're thinking nutrition, training, strength training, cardio, whatever. Today, we're going to be talking about sleep. I also want to take the opportunity now to say thank you to everybody who's liked our videos, watched our videos, given us feedback on the videos, because to be honest, the feedback has been overwhelming, and I've personally really enjoyed doing them, and we've loved the information, and we love providing you with the information. I hope that you've been able to take some of it on board, put it in place, and if you have, let us know. Throw us a comment, give us a like if you've tried any of the information that we've put forth in the videos. Tag someone in the comments if you feel they might benefit from some of the information we're providing. And if you are enjoying it, don't forget, give us a thumbs up and let other people know you're watching as well. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about sleep. Realistically, when we're talking about sleep, we probably should open up with a discussion on what is a good sleep. And to discuss what a good sleep is, in this case, we need to discuss first sleep duration and sleep quality. Now, for the most part, as an adult, you'd probably need about 7 to 9 hours quality sleep per night to be considered having a good sleep. Unfortunately, the average Aussie really only has around 6 hours of quality sleep per night, and within that, you could assume about twice per night they're going to wake up. So duration-wise, we're already sitting a little bit under. On top of that, in terms of quality sleep, you're really asking the question, when your head hit the pillow, how long did it take you to go to sleep? Was there restfulness? Did you struggle to go to sleep? And once you were asleep, how many times, if any, did you wake up? And that is essentially how you would sum up what a quality duration and a quality overall sleep is. So you can see, unfortunately, looking at the twice per night wake up for only 6 hours of quality sleep, Australian adults, Aussie adults are already falling behind the 8 ball here. Now, there's many factors that can affect why you might be having a poor sleep, and like most things in the human body, it's incredibly complex, but we're just going to cover a few basic ones for you here. Really, we're exposed to so many disruptors of potential sleep in modern society. Unlike our caveman ancestors, where they essentially had to get most of their day done within about 12 hours. So pretty much when the sun was up, they had to go to work, and then they would call it a day after that when the sun goes down. For us, we're in a society of abundance. We've got food on tap. We've got lights literally at a switch. We bring home work stresses. We've got emails. People can call us on the phone. Literally, there is so many things that could disrupt our quality of sleep. And we're going to talk in a minute about how important sleep actually is. But for the most part, the modern Aussie is looking at things like noise. So because we live so close to each other, your neighbours have a fight, they wake you up. There's roadworks on a road, that's going to keep you awake as well. We've also got cigarette smoking and nicotine for any smokers out there. Now, we're not going to talk about that because obviously you give up smoking, that's going to be a non-issue, but that's a completely different talk altogether. We've got mental health issues and work stress. As work life picks up and we become more and more stressed, you bring that home, and that could play on your mind at night and keep you awake. Although they're definitely concerns and things that you would probably want to address, we're going to talk about two of the more common ones that we address in personal training, and luckily for us here today, these are two things that you can take away and you can improve literally today. Literally tonight, you can have a better sleep if you adjust these two things. Now, first and foremost, we're talking about the exposure to blue light. So we think about phones, iPads, to a lesser degree, things like television, computers. So again, you add the work stress, plus you're on the computer at home at night. All of these things are going to add up and keep you awake. But that blue light is keeping you awake and is disrupting your sleep quality. Funnily enough, blue light gives off a lumen similar to what your eyes would and your retinas would observe looking at, say, the midday sun. So it's telling you, that blue light exposure is telling you to stay awake. It's midday, it's time to get up, it's time to work, but you actually need to go to sleep. On top of that, it's the overconsumption of caffeine. So we're in a society, the second most drank drink in the world is actually coffee. So where people mix that up, and coffee's great, but they'll consume it too late in the day. And even if you're somebody who does drink coffee and you say, oh, but I can go to sleep. Yeah, you may be able to go to sleep, But as we discussed back at the start of this video, your quality of sleep may not be improved. So just because you are asleep doesn't actually mean you are improving your sleep quality, okay? So realistically, we're just talking about from a health perspective now. You're probably looking at this, and if you're one of those people that say less concerned about health and you're like, look, I want to get a six-pack, tell me how sleep is going to affect my ability to get a six-pack or lose some weight, we're gonna give you some information now. So firstly, there's some really good research on this. Those that sleep less carry more fat. And generally that's about 6 hours per night. And leaner individuals, not always, but leaner individuals will generally sleep around 7 to 8. So there's some really good population type research on this. So straight away, that should push you to want to improve that if you are looking to get a little bit leaner. But look, for the sake of giving you some really big rocks that you can take away from here, the reasons that we see that people do end up to either gain weight or struggle to lose it from sleep, firstly comes down to a jacked up hormone balance. So if your sleep drops off, one of the first things, well, sleep is restorative, right? So when you go to sleep at night, that's when your body's restorative processes tick over and your ability to control these hormones resets for the next day. But you're waking up early or your sleep's disrupted and that's not happening. So one of the first things you'll find will happen is your hunger hormones will raise up and your satiety hormones will drop. Now, on top of that, you'll now crave more food. So not only are you're hungry, as soon as you wake up, you're hungry and you do not feel full from the foods you eat. You don't feel that effect of full satiety. So on top of that, you will have an increased ability to store fat through the midsection. You create a more insulin resistant environment. So your hunger hormones are out of whack. You're now pushing insulin resistance. You, as a result, will crave carbs that you cannot hold or you cannot deal with as well because of that issue. And on top of that, probably the simplest one is you're gonna have a reduced exercise performance. It makes perfect sense. You're tired. Let's say you will yourself to the gym or you need to go out on the run, so you do it. It's gonna be shit anyway because you're tired and you couldn't be stuffed. Eventually, enough of these crappy workouts in a row, because realistically, if you're sleeping poorly, it tends to be something that goes on for a while. You're just gonna call it a day. It happens all the time. So to recap that, the reason that sleep and fat loss have this intertwined relationship, for the most part, is that jacked up hormone balance and increased belly fat, increased insulin resistance, and you just don't want to exercise. There's more to it than that, but they're three that can kick you off. So what are we going to do about it? What are you going to go do about it today to improve tomorrow? I'm not going to stand here and tell you all the bad stuff. We want to give you some tangible things that you can take away. Hopefully at this point, you're ready to make some changes though. So we're going to give you a few strategies. There's many more you can do here, but these are some big ones you can take away immediately. First, create yourself a bedtime ritual. Now what that basically means is you want your body to know sleep is coming. And the body is very rhythmic in the way it gets ready to go to bed. So for example, myself, I'll come home from work a lot of the time, I'll have some dinner, and that's pretty much my last meal of the day. I'm pretty much done from there. I'll have a shower, I'll chill out, watch some TV with the family, and then I'll read. And reading is probably the trigger for me. I can't read for more than about 10 minutes before I start to get tired. It's light reading. I'm keeping it pretty lighthearted, nothing too stressful before you go to sleep. You want to start to relax, but that's the ritual. Whatever it is for you, start to get this rhythm so your body knows, all right, sleep is coming. I'm going to get ready to go to sleep here. Point 2, takeaway, sleep in the bat cave. Now what that basically means is you want complete darkness. Any exposure to light or bright lights, as we've discussed with the blue light situation, prior to bed is going to disrupt your circadian rhythm and start to tell your body that it's not necessarily time to go to sleep yet. This can be as simple as getting yourself some blockout blinds to really shut out any street light, especially if you're in a suburban area. But it does go as far as even the light on your alarm clock. If you do have a TV in your room, which you probably shouldn't, but that's a chat for another day, the little dot that says it's on standby, that there as well. Anything that is going to sort of activate the light receptors of on your eyes is no good. So you want to get rid of that in your room. Complete darkness, just like those caveman ancestors that we spoke about a moment ago. Another, a little bit more new to research is the time-restricted feeding concept. So as I said in my bedtime ritual, that last meal of my day is probably around dinner, let's call it 6:30, 7 o'clock. And funnily enough, that's about 12 hours from my first meal. We talk about circadian rhythm with your eyes, and your body will see light and assume that it's time to be awake or time to be asleep. But your organs also have that clock that we're starting to realize. If you think about it this time, people that are born blind, they know when it's nighttime, they know when it's time to go to bed, and that's a circadian rhythm. It's not a light receptor situation because they can't see these blue lights. There is an organ clock telling them it's time to go to sleep. So give this a try, and we can perhaps talk about that in another talk. But essentially, about 12 hours feeding through the day. Have your first meal 6 a.m., finish at 6 a.m. Push it back 7 and 7, whatever you want to do. Give it about 12 hours or even more in some situations. Point 4, quit the blue light before bed. We've spoken about this one here as that's one of the biggest issues, but there's many ways you can do this. I'm not going to stand here and say, because some people work busy lives, some people are on shift work, some people have to have access to these electronic devices late in the evening. I myself do it. Now there is a trick you can do here though. There's many apps, there's functions on any of the Apple products, I'm sure the Samsung products have them too, where you can actually turn on what they call like a night shift, and it dulls the screen light. On my laptop there's an app, it's called F.Lux, Flux. Fantastic. At a certain point in the day, you can set the time yourself, or it just goes with sunrise and sunset. The lighting on your laptop will actually turn down, removing the blue light from the screen and dulling the light, so you don't have this blue light response, this circadian rhythm disruption that we're talking about. So that is life-saving. So if you must use the electronic devices, ideally you don't, but if you do, try that app. And lastly, drop the caffeine. These last 2 points are probably the biggest ones for today's talk. Drop the caffeine 5 to 6 hours before bed. Now, in the past, I would usually say you could probably leave it a little bit later, but what happens with caffeine is there's a half-life, which essentially means that half of the caffeine will be removed from your body in around 5 to 6 hours after consuming it. And it varies based on the strength of the caffeine, your sensitivity to the caffeine, and many things. But as a rule of thumb, let's say you go to bed at 10 o'clock at night. I would assume for that person, you really don't want to be having coffee after about 2 or 3 p.m. at the latest. If the earlier you can push it, the better. Keep your coffee for the mornings. It's a great drink to have. As I said, we're big fans of it here, but you want to try and push it about 5 to 6 hours, if not more, before bed. You want to cut it out. Okay. Those last 2 are so important. If you can do those 2, you'll be better off from today. Let's just recap really quickly. Create yourself a bedtime ritual. Tell your body when it's time to go to bed. Sleep in a bat cave. Turn off all artificial light. Absolutely all artificial light in your room. And try, even one thing I didn't say, start to dim the lights if you have dimmers at home. As you start to get ready for bed, you can build that into the ritual as well. Time restricted feeding, it's kind of a new thing, but just think, I'm going to leave it about 12 hours. Try that out and get back to us, because that's new for us here as well. About 12 hours after my first meal is my last meal, done. Quit the blue light exposure, that one's huge. Ideally, at least 2 hours before bed, turn them off, stop looking at blue lights, laptops, iPads, phones, all of that thing. Alternatively, use the night shift apps, use the Flux apps, whatever you got to do. If you must use those. And lastly, drop the caffeine consumption about 5 to 6 hours before bed. Caffeine's done. If the earlier the better. If you can keep it to around lunch, you're going to be better off. These seem really simple, guys, but honestly, if you put this into practice, this will be like a 2.0 version of yourself. You do this, you'll feel better tomorrow. Look, give it 14 days. You'll feel like shit for about the first 7 of them for sure, because you are resetting that circadian rhythm that's all jacked up. But that's fine. Give it 14 days. Get back to us and tell us how you're feeling. Okay, throwing up that challenge. Make sure if you're going to give it a crack, tag yourself, tag your friends in the comments. Give this 14-day sleep challenge a go. And if you're feeling better, we want to hear from you. On Thursday, we're going to be running another clip, and we're going to talk about body recomposition, which is essentially like saying losing fat and gaining muscle at the same time. It's a little bit of a taboo topic. People don't know if it's true or not. I'm telling you that we've done it here many times. I'm going to tell you how we do it. Guys, that's pretty much it for today. Thank you very much. As always, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, let other people know you're watching, let us know you're watching. Tag someone in the comments of this video, in our other videos, and we appreciate you guys watching. Thanks a lot.